Hi everybody and welcome to class. It's Mark and I'm going to be working with you in this very brief 8-week summer session of English 111. I've taught this course online before and also taught it in a 16-week version. The difference being because we have reduced amount of time, we have to get through 2 assignments or 2 sessions a week. But I'm certain that everybody is up to the challenge and you'll be able to keep up just fine. This is the first of many videos you will get from me. I produce a new one each week, and I like doing video more than I do class announcements because I can get more content out to you. So check back every week on Sunday or on Monday when a new class session begins, and you'll be able to watch one of these. And I ask that you watch the video before you do any work in the course because I may make a change on what is listed online. You never know. But it's important to watch these first. Today we are going to cover sessions 1 and 2. But before we get to that, I want to go over a few things in the syllabus and the course calendar. So I'm going to click on course information over here on the left and open those up. Right off the top, you have my contact information. The best way to stay in contact with me during the course is by sending me a text. That will always get the fastest response. And it's been my experience in this class that the students that communicate with me absolutely do the best. So send me a text. Best way to stay in touch. The only thing I ask is that if you do send me a text, in the message, please tell me your name because I may not know your phone number. I might confuse you with another student. So just tell me who you are right off the bat, ask your question, add your comment, and then I'll respond as appropriate. If you want to call me, you're welcome to do that. You can reach me anytime at an 800 number. That is my primary job. I only work for Ivy Tech part-time. I work for MetLife Insurance the rest of the time. So if you hear me answer the phone MetLife, well, you've got the right guy. You can email me, of course, although I will respond more quickly to a text than I will to an email, but you can still use this if you'd like. If you are a Twitter user, you can follow me at this address. I do not tweet very much about anything related to class, but if you are a user of Twitter, you could send me a direct message. So let's jump into the syllabus. I recommend you print this out and save it. Of course, you can access it anytime that you want to online, but if you print it out, you can make notes on the side. You could highlight things. It's just more useful. So again, you have my contact information. My supervisor is listed there. If you have problems related to technology, since this is an online class, that's the person you need to contact. And again, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I will point out there is no physical text for this class. Everything is online. And the book that you'll be using and reading from and commenting on is included in the class. Software requirements. This is important. All of your assignments that you send to me are to be done in Microsoft Word. If you have a Mac, I know you can get Word that will work with a Mac, but please don't use OpenOffice or any of the other different versions of Word because when they go through the plagiarism checking, they come out a mess and I can't read them. So make sure you're using Word and the most recent version at that. I'm searching for, there it is. If something comes up, and I understand it does from time to time, and you need to contemplate leaving the class, this is the attendance drop deadline. If you find yourself in this situation, please reach out to me by text first. We'll talk things over. And if it's necessary that you have to drop the class, well, I'll help facilitate that process. If it's possible to keep you in the class and keep you working, we'll talk about that as well. Am I required to come to campus for this course? Well, you can. I won't be there, but you're welcome to show up if you'd like. Nothing will happen there. And if you do have to withdraw, there's the date for the last date to withdraw. I also point out that we are only using MLA in this class. Some of you might be more familiar with APA, that's fine, but we don't use it in English. And if you have problems sticking to MLA, reach out to me by text. We'll talk it over. And one of the first assignments I'm going to give you is a test run to make sure that everyone in the course knows how to formulate a paper according to MLA guidelines. It's not writing a paper. I'm going to show you how to generate some random text. The bigger point is just to make sure you know how to format it properly. There are only 4 writing projects in this course, writing projects 1 through 4. There are a couple of other smaller assignments such as an annotated bibliography, working outline, etc. And there are also some various minor quizzes and discussion boards scattered throughout the course. Those are all very easy, so please don't overlook them. Yes, they're not worth as many points as the others, the essays, but it could end up making a difference in your grade in the long run. And I think that's all I'm going to cover on the syllabus. And you don't need to see the pitching stats. Don't know why I had that open. I'm going to go back to the course and take a look at the calendar. And again, print this out. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I know you will later. Class always starts on Monday at 12:01 a.m., so 1 minute after midnight, and you have until 11:59 the following Sunday to turn in your work. Earlier is always better, but that's your deadline. And notice there are 2 sessions, as we talked about, for each week. But because we're doing 2 sessions per week, both of them have the same deadline. Now this video is being recorded on June 1st. The course isn't actually open just yet, but I wanted to get this done as quickly as possible. So for the first week, class will start on June 6th, and it'll be done by June 12th, and then we move on. And the same thing continues throughout the calendar. Again, print this out. It'll help you stay on track. And if you don't want to print it, or you just simply want to refer to it more quickly, it's also listed here. All right, so that is my brief course orientation. Now let's jump into the very first class sessions and see what we have to do there. The workload can be manageable, but pretty good in any one week. And I think you'll see that, at least for the first week, it's not too bad. Here are the learning activities, reviewing the course syllabus. Well, we just did that. The Blackboard Student Guide, I'm not covering that. If you're not familiar with it, maybe this is your first online course, you will need to look that over. Guidelines for effective emails and messages, that's optional. If you're already comfortable with taking an online course, you've done it before, you may not need that. You are being asked to read 2 chapters in the text while we write, and 10 core concepts for effective writing, and I'll show you where the textbook is. There is a PowerPoint you'll need to look at. Which picture is your writing process like? And what you're being asked to do for this week. Session 1 introductions. It is not graded, but it's important because it gives me a feel for your personality, how you like to be approached, along with the same information for everyone else in the class. So don't overlook that. Even though there's no grade assigned to it, it's still important. After you've reviewed the full syllabus and Blackboard, there is a short quiz, basically a scavenger hunt, asking you to respond with where various things are in the syllabus. If you print it out and look it over, you're going to do just great. There is also a test run assignment, and it is about MLA formatting, which I mentioned previously. I'll show you that in just a minute. And then there is a discussion board on the PowerPoint presentation. In that discussion board, you will post an original thread and then reply to a minimum of 2 other students. Before I move on, I do want to point out tutor.com. Tutor.com is a place where you can send in a draft of something and get feedback on it, proofreading, suggestions on how to improve it within 24 hours, and best of all, there is no cost to you. Part of your tuition is already paying for this access, so you might as well use it. I recommend that at least once, everyone, maybe even with the first assignment, go ahead, write your draft, send it to tutor.com, get their feedback, and make the revisions that they suggest. It'll strengthen anything that you turn in. You probably don't need it for a discussion board or anything like that, but when we get around to the first essay, you're absolutely going to want to use this. Why not? You're paying for it. Might as well use it. I think we've covered everything in learning activities, but I just want to take a peek in this folder. There's the Blackboard student guide, guide for effective emails and messages. Here is your text, and it's in a couple of different places, but this is one of the first places you can find it. And again, I'm not going to do this now, but click on that link. The text will open. Read those 2 chapters. I'm going to come back to the PowerPoint in a few moments. Let's look at assignments and assessments. Here is the first discussion board. You could say anything you want. Tell us about yourself, why you're taking the class, what you are studying, if you know. Not everyone does at this point. And anything else you want us to know about you. And to get there, just click on the discussions link right here. And it would be this one. Of course, nobody's posted yet, but when you're ready, click on this link, create thread. You do have to give whatever you're posting a subject line, and then tell us whatever you'd like. I realize many of you have taken online classes before. You may already know that, but we could have some new students in here that aren't as familiar. Once you've read the Blackboard and the syllabus, go ahead and click on this link. It's a very short, honestly, very easy quiz. You'll do great. Again, here is the discussion. And I'm going to review the PowerPoint in just a second, but I do want to get to the test run assignment. There was kind of a canned test run assignment that was located here. I didn't like it. I replaced it. And this is what I'm going to ask you to do. And if you follow these instructions exactly, you'll do great. Open up Word and follow these instructions. All right, I had to hit pause for just a second so I could find this document and open it up. When you follow these instructions, this is what it will look like. First of all, as it says, your name should always be listed first. And I ask that you use your given name. Some of you may have a shortened version of your name. You may be better known by your middle name or a nickname. But for purposes of MLA, according to format, use your given first and last name. The second item that you list, of course, is my name. And notice it doesn't say Mr. or Professor or Instructor. It's just my first and last name. I'm not that formal. Just write it as it appears here. You're going to want to abbreviate English, ENG, in caps, 111, and then the date. Now, the date is interesting in MLA because in MLA format, we do not use the date that you're writing it. We use the due date. So if I start this assignment on June the 7th, I'm not going to put down June 7th. I'm going to put down June 12th because June 12th is when it is due. And also notice on this, the format. I just used the example of June 12th, but in MLA, we write the date differently, and it's always in this format, and that is day of the week first, then the month, then the year. I would never put June 12, 2016. I have to put 12 June 2016. You must give it a title, which has to be centered. Notice none of this is underlined or bolded. There is no cover page. And by hitting the equal sign RAND, parentheses 3, 5, close parentheses, it generates the random text. And I have separated this into paragraphs course, there's no citations or anything like that in this. And all of this is just randomly generated text. But this is what it should look like. And it's only one page. But when you send it back to me, if it doesn't look like this, well, try again. And if it's not in the correct format, I'll probably send you a response saying it's not quite there yet. Try it one more time. This is an easy exercise. It shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. But let's try and get it right, because every written assignment you're going to turn in to me this semester must be in this format. If you have questions about that, what do? Well, you send me a text. So that is your test run assignment. Now we can get to the PowerPoint. And this is for the discussion board. I can't remember, is it in learning activities or assignments? Or maybe both. Oh, there it is. I'm going to use the second one. And I'll tell you up front, I didn't pick these pictures. I think some of them are a little strange. I hope you can find one that you like. Now when this opens, if you're not familiar with using PowerPoint in Blackboard, enable editing, of course, and then I'm going to hit F5, and that'll bring this full screen. And to navigate, I'm simply going to use the spacebar to advance and the backspace key to go backwards. And your assignment is to pick one of these very abstract images and tell me if it resonates with you. That one to me always looks like Tony the Tiger. I think of Frosted Flakes. That one reminds me of the food pyramid. Again, they're odd. Hopefully you'll find one of these that you like, and you're going to post it to the discussion board in about 200 words. I really do wish they'd pick better pictures. And I think we've covered all of the course orientation and week 1. I do want to take a little look around just to make sure we have covered it all. Introduction to the discussion board, syllabus exercise, the test run assignment, print out those directions and follow them exactly. You'll do great. And then session 1 discussion. Yep, that does look like we've covered it. Of course, you also have to read the 2 chapters. And we're going to jump in now into class session 2 to complete this week and see what remains there. Yes, there's more reading. And the way this course is structured, there's a lot of reading on the front end, less reading on the back end. So you actually have 5 chapters to get through for this week. Take a chapter a day. Maybe that'll break it up. Anytime you see the word supplemental listed, it means you don't have to do it. It's there if you think you need it. But if you're good on plagiarism resources or MLA format or situational analysis, you can skip those. I'm trying to keep the workload as manageable as possible for you. So for this week, in addition to reading those 3 chapters, we have Writing Project 1, Summary and Response, Core Readings, PowerPoint on describing, summarizing, and responding. That you may already know very well. Take a look at it, you may be able to skip over it. And then some additional resources on plagiarism. But let's jump into the assignments. Again, your textbook. I'm not going to do this now. That would take too long. 3 chapters. And your first writing project is summary and response. In other words, responding to something you just read for the class. Print these out as well. I already recommended that you print out the syllabus and the course calendar. Well, you're going to want to print these too. For this assignment, you're going to pick something from the core readings, which is different than the text. I'll show you where it is. And you're going to summarize, in other words, tell me what it said, and respond, meaning add your own thought. Describe the core reading, summarize, and respond. Pretty simple. And for this first project, I'm going to tell you that you don't have to create the situational analysis. I don't think we need it this time around. So that's one part of this assignment you can skip. Now, when you turn this in the first time, you're only turning in your first draft. It's not the final version, but you do have to put in a draft. And it's going to be 600 words for the first draft, 750 for the final. How many pages is that? Well, it's a couple of pages, 2 to 3. Remember, it must be an MLA style, not APA, and you're going to use the guidelines for the test run exercise as your basis for formatting this. I will not read through this entire thing for 2 reasons. Number 1, I know you know how to read. Number 2, I'm trying to keep these short, but definitely review this. And we get rid of that as well. Let's go back and go to the core readings. Remember, your first writing project, summary and response, is not based on the textbook. It's based on the core readings. And there's a lot of them in here. Oh, I guess I'm supposed to delete that. I will after this is done. It recommends you print out the ones you like, the ones you intend to use. I completely agree with that. And I just realized that many of these are not yet available. I will make them available before this course opens. So let's take a look at the one that we do have, Experiencing Education. Just to pick one. You might want to look through the file folders and based on the subject, decide that that one is for you. Do you have to read all of these? No. First of all, that's not possible. Second of all, that just would be a waste of your time. So here's what I recommend you do. Look at the titles, including one is a video. It's not even a text. Although it is 19 minutes long, you could probably read most of these long before you could watch that. And we'll open one. And the approach I recommend you take, this one's only 6 pages. Skim over it. Give it a quick read. Maybe read the first few paragraphs. And if it appeals to you, then you might want to print it off, set it aside. If by the first couple of paragraphs you don't like it, or you don't like the tone, or you don't like the subject, then go back and pick a different one. Again, you can't read all of these. There's too many. This one's 7 pages. Okay, not too bad. Although there's a lot of text there in 7 pages. It's been my experience that this particular one seems to be popular with students. I think it's just okay, but my opinion doesn't matter. And it's actually a magazine article from the online magazine Salon. And it goes on and on and on. You could pick any of these. So when I'm finished with this video, I will make many of these, probably not all of them, available to you, and you're free to pick whichever one you like and write about it. I probably will take out mass shootings and the religious and conflict because I really don't like the articles that are in there. But the rest of them, I'll probably leave most of them. And I will also take down this that you're not supposed to see. Haha, you got a background peek. We will be using the core readings for the first 2 writing projects in the class. And as it says, and I mentioned previously, skim them, throw out the ones you don't like, find the ones you do like, and print those off. There's a PowerPoint on how to describe, summarize, and respond. I'm not going to open this, but I am going to recommend that you do open it, especially because your first writing project is based on the information within this PowerPoint. It is important. It'll tell you how to say the proper things to complete this assignment. And again, situational analysis for this assignment, forget it. Don't do it. If you do send me the situational analysis, I'm going to know you didn't watch this video. Let's get back to session 2. I'm trying to wrap this up. And we'll take a look at assignments and assessments. If you find these videos useful, tell me. If you don't find them useful, you think they're too long, or you're just good without them, you can tell me that too. I won't be offended. In assignments and assessments, in session 1, we talked about how you're going to write 200 words on what your writing process looks like, which picture represents your writing process. In this session, you're going to send 2 responses to 2 different students commenting on what they said. Don't say simply, I agree or I disagree. Tell us why. There is no right or wrong answer in this, so you're free to say whatever you'd like. Just be respectful. Your original post was 200 words, so you need to write about 100 words to 2 other students for an additional 200 words total. Here's the plagiarism exercise. Again, it's just like the Blackboard and syllabus guide. If you look through the materials or you simply know this subject well, you're going to do great. And then, after you've written your summary and response to one of the core readings, you're going to put it in 2 places. First one here is the one that goes to me, so I can see your draft. And remember, it is only a draft. It's not a final project. If it's a little sloppy still, that's fine. I'll give you some advice on how to clean it up, but it is just a draft. Hit Browse My Computer, find the file, and click Submit, and you're done. But you also need to add it into a second location, and that is here. And what you write for this brief assignment will be read by other students in the course. Again, create thread, give it a subject line, whatever you want. Helps if you include your name, and then post it to the discussion board. This was a long video, probably because we had to cover the course orientation as well. Hopefully the subsequent ones that you'll be getting every week will be a little bit shorter. Again, welcome to class, everybody. Best way to stay in touch with me is by text, 812-498-4200. If you want to call me, 800-416-1747. If you want to send me an email, mstenger and the number 1 at ivytech.edu. Welcome to class, to everybody. Reach out to me anytime. I'm looking forward to working with you. Have a great week.